Hi, Dr. Sasse here from Sasse Surgical Center, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about the recent press discussing The Biggest Loser, the television program that we're all familiar with, and the National Institutes of Health peer-reviewed academic research that studied the contestants on The Biggest Loser from a specific year and followed them for 6 years. Recently, some additional research has come up, and this has been talked about in the media and press. And as is often the case, a lot of times the press gets it wrong when they're trying to look for what's important in this research. Basically, some of the more recent findings from the academic press indicated that there was an association between regular exercise and more daily physical activity, and it actually lowered the metabolic rate for people. So, that's not what we want. Obviously, that's kind of an unfavorable thing. If you're exercising more, which is what all your doctors are telling you to do, and then your metabolic rate actually goes down, that means your body is burning less calories, which would make it harder to lose weight and keep it off. And that is true that there is that association. However, there is a stronger association between simple body weight loss and that dialing down of metabolic rate. So just pause and think about that for a second. If you lose weight intentionally by cutting calories and exercising, your body has its own adaptation. It's called metabolic adaptation, and it turns down our metabolic rate. This is the body's way of sort of fighting back and trying to preserve body weight by causing us to regain the weight. Even more potent, though, than that metabolic downturn is the big boost in the hormones that cause weight regain directly by causing increased hunger, by causing increased calorie extraction, by causing increased fat storage. And those hormones, that family of hormones, are what really control the set point for body weight. So as we diet and exercise, we try to chip away and the pounds go down, boom, we get this metabolic adaptation phenomenon where two big things happen. The hormones go absolutely the wrong direction and cause weight regain through those mechanisms, and the metabolic rate simultaneously goes down, meaning it's harder to burn calories. So the combination is dreadful. It leads to weight regain. And in every significant peer-reviewed article on non-surgical weight loss, that is what is found. Weight is regained over a period of time, usually always and fully within 2 years. Large meta-analyses of non-surgical weight loss published in the biggest and best peer-reviewed literature show that phenomenon, that there is really no sustainable, meaningful long-term weight loss that is achieved without surgery today, full stop. That may be surprising to a lot of people, and sometimes people will try to sort of refute that by pointing to some small onesie-twosie studies, but what you find is that those studies tend to be short-term. So yes, there is short-term success at losing weight with diet and exercise, no doubt, but they're not long-term like there is with the surgical change. And it's not that I'm tooting the horn of surgery. What I'm trying to say is that the surgery changes the tissues, which changes the hormones. And that's really the key to understanding how we're going to break through and develop better therapies and better preventive methods to combat this dreadful obesity epidemic. So recently we saw some of the press kind of wondering about what it means. If you exercise, does that lower your metabolic rate? And they were sort of twisting around about, what sort of significance this could have in the field and in the science. Unfortunately, they were really not giving any significant airplay to what is the most important and critical finding, which has huge implications for human health, and that is that the body is influenced by environmental factors to create an obesity epidemic in today's world, and that's largely driven by the family of hormones that creates the set point for body weight. Losing weight is not going to happen with diet and exercise. It's going to happen by competing with or stopping the environmental influences which alter those hormones and create the elevated set point for body weight. That's where we got to put our scientific investigations. That's where we've got to put our resources. We have to understand these hormonal mechanisms and find better ways to reverse them, and then ultimately find better ways to prevent them. Today, the only way we really know how to reverse them is by surgically changing the tissues where the hormones come from. Very successful, very safe, very non-invasive today. Excellent solution for a lot of people. Not perfect, obviously. Not 100% of the excess body weight goes away. Sometimes people regain weight over time. There's no doubt it's not perfect, but it is the only effective long-term strategy that is really proven in the peer-reviewed literature. What we need now are second-order treatments that are pharmaceutical, for example, or other ways of influencing that family of hormones to change the set point. And once we do that, we'll have even better therapies beginning to come down the road. And finally, what we need is a real clear recognition of what are the environmental influences that create this altered family of hormones that elevate the body weight set point, so that we can stop putting them in our body and we can stop exposing our body to them. We know some of them probably stem from changes in the food supply, changes that occurred around the exact time the epidemic of obesity began, changes in the genomics of wheat and corn and soy and rice and other staples, as well as probably the body's exposure to other pharmaceuticals, including antibiotics in agriculture. And there may be several other culprits, but until we really understand how those are interacting with the family of hormones that cause obesity, we're not getting any closer. And so I just wanted to put that out there to kind of help reframe what really is the important message about the academic work being done and what we've learned from the Biggest Loser studies. As you may know, if you've heard me talk about it before, or you've read my books or any work on this, all of the contestants on the year that was studied by the NIH, and they were studied for 6 full years, all of them regained their weight, with the exception of one guy, and that guy was Rudy Pauls. And as you can see in the publications, about a year into it, he had weight loss surgery. And so unlike all of his peers who exhibited that same metabolic adaptation, meaning their bad hormones went the wrong direction, caused weight regain, their metabolic rate went down, Rudy's adapted the way we would want them to. His metabolic rate went up and his hormones went to the direction we want to go to lose weight. Some go up, some go down, but the net effect is that they promote weight loss. And so he was the only guy who had the tissues were actually changed. Everyone else was just trying to battle it with an extremely dedicated effort of diet and exercise and commitment, and sort of a public commitment. These are incredibly motivated people that should be commended for the effort, and it taught us a lot, which is that even with such a massive effort, metabolic adaptation is going to win, and it's going to cause that weight to be regained in the course of a couple of years, unless you change the family of hormones, unless you change the tissues where those hormones come from. All right, I hope that's been helpful. That got a little bit into the weeds about the mechanisms, but I just felt like that was necessary to get out there given the kind of media misrepresentation of what the really meaningful findings are out there. Don't lose hope if you're battling obesity or a loved one is battling obesity. Right now in this day and age, having a 45-minute laparoscopic procedure is a ticket to vastly improved health and greatly reduced risks of many health problems, including diabetes, stroke, heart attack, and others. And so avail yourself of that if you can. Almost all health insurance plans cover it because it is considered medically necessary. And just know that centers are working on understanding this hormonal mechanism better, and one day we will be able to offer even better therapies and hopefully one day prevent and resolve this dreadful epidemic. All right, I wish you the best of health.